How do you go from being stuck on the fourth line, you're always a healthy scratch, maybe you're injured too, and then you turn yourself into a freak athlete where you have the ability standards of the best hockey players in the world? That is exactly what happened with me. I was stuck on the fourth line, oftentimes injured and also a healthy scratch and kicked off the team. And then I built myself back up to not only get the skating, shooting, and stick handling standards of the best hockey players, but I've also developed myself into the strength and mobility standards of the best athletes in the world. And some statistics are that I went from a 17 to 19 second lap time to a 14 to 15 second lap time. A lot of my lifts have grown by 50% in a year span ever since I got out of pain. And my mobility, well, you're going to see the before and after photos on that. This is a Hockey Hacks case study done on me. We're going to go over exactly what happened over the past, ever since I'm able to track back as far as I can. And I'm going to show you what I did to change myself from basically broken to freak athlete status. And while we do this, I'm just going to maintain my quads in the background just because I feel like it. The first footage that I have is from 2016, and basically, and you'll see that on the screen, that's when I was playing single A hockey. I was good but not great, and I only got as high as double A, and then even my last year there, I only scored 8 points. It was 2 goals and 6 assists. That was in like 30 plus games or so. But really, the first footage is from 2016 with GoPro footage that isn't high quality in between there and now. That is basically how far back as 2016 goes, because I went through the typical hockey development progression in my town that was San Jose, and so I just went to the local hockey camps, followed that from about 2010 to 2018. And then when I started playing juniors in 2018 to 2019, which was in the USPHL, in roughly 50 games or so, I only got 5 points. So it was 3 goals and 2 assists. First 25 games, I was only 1 goal. And I was also dealing with a hip injury. Then the last 25 games was 2 goals and 2 assists. But the other caveat is that I was on the ice for no goals against. So I was great defensively, and I was getting minor improvements. And this was within 7 to 10 minutes of ice time. Now, we get into the summer of 2019. This is when I started to train with Train 2.0, when I met Jason Yee in person. And that was the point where I started to switch up my hockey training from doing power skating to doing the Train 2.0 downhill skating, and just switching up what I used to do to what I'm doing now. Skills work specifically. 2019-2020 season, I was playing in the EHL. The first team I was on only played 5 games. I had a concussion injury, 0 points. Then the next team I went on is about 20 games, also 0 points. And I was on the ice for a lot of goals against. It was 20 goals or so. So it was like, what happened there? Well, there's a conflict with the coaching and team that I'm not going to get into here. And I also had a second hip injury. Basically, my year was cut short. We agreed to do a contract termination. And then when COVID and the lockdowns happened, I actually started to train daily, even though it wasn't at a rink, but I was doing skating drills every day. I would go onto a trail and just skate down it with a stick and a puck. And I did that for about 4 to 5 months, almost every day. Basically, the only time I wasn't out there was when it was raining. When I returned to the ice, I also ended up training daily. In this time, I was doing no gym workout, so it was just exclusively hockey training. And I trained basically just a lot of the Train 2.0 mechanics. Keep in mind, this wasn't really structured. I didn't have a plan. I just worked on mechanics that I knew I wanted to work on for the day. I didn't plan this out over months and months. It was just, I did the mechanics I felt like. And I basically trained daily until January of 2021, when I was unable to walk due to having chronic hip flexor and groin pains. In addition to not training with a plan, I was training for about 3 to 4 and sometimes 6 hours, like Actually, that was like once or twice that it was 6 hours. But basically, that's how high it got nearly every day that we were doing that. When I had this hip flexor and groin tweak to the point where I couldn't walk, I thought, well, I can't play pro if I can't freaking walk. How am I supposed to get to where I want to go if I can't move? I'm moving like I'm 70 when I'm 20 years old. So it's like, I had to do something to fix that. But that moment, January 2021, when I realized, okay, my hips are so screwed up and so effed up that I have to do something to fix it, that was the start of my athletic and strength transformation and just overall general transformation, because better athleticism helps out everything else that you do. No study in history suggests that more ability is a bad thing. So the better ability I got, the better my hockey skills got. About January 2021 into April 2021, I did multiple programs that helped a little bit, but not as much as what we'll get into in April of 2021, where I joined ATG Online. And basically did that program exclusively to fix my hips and a lot of other imbalances in my body. July of 2021, my hip flexor pain felt like it actually went away for the very first time. Also, when I was fixing my hips, the amount of hip flexor raises I was doing was absolutely ridiculous. I think at some point I was doing it basically every day, either 3 or 5 sets of 20. And then once I progressed that to reverse squats, there was a point where I was doing it every day. And even though that may not have felt like it was fixing anything in the moment, I did notice that as the weeks progressed, that the pain was going away and the hip flexor was getting stronger, and I was also sprinting a lot quicker. So something was definitely happening from doing that, even though I don't recommend it or necessarily program it for anyone. But that's also something that I did, and that resulted out of blasting my hip flexors. Then during that summer, to continue the training that I was doing this matching series for players like McDavid. I would align myself next to a Connor McDavid or an Austin Matthews and match their movements. And again, that was accelerating my training growth and my progress. That continued really into the winter, and even after some life changes into January of 2021, when I joined ATG for Coaches, I continued to train. And that can lead us to April of 2022, where I met Ben Patrick in person. And I got many people commenting on my legs, even when I was there, even though that was almost 2 years ago to this point. But like, that was a sign of the training that I was doing with not just the hockey stuff, but with the ATG stuff. Getting into summer 2022, I continued to progressing the ATG standards and actually achieved L2 status in ability with ATG for Coaches. So I'm able to hit all the strength standards for the movements that they do. October 2022, I officially became a personal trainer, even though I've been coaching since about 2020 with some hockey movements or so. Now here's where we get into some significant progress. November of 2022 was the first time I hit 200 pounds on the ATG split squat, and that was for about 2 to 3 reps. That was also the month that I hit 3 reps on a 1.5 times bodyweight HEG squat. So that's about 315 pounds. After a few setbacks in winter of 2022 to 2023, we get into April of 2023, where 1, I learned how to program. 2, I learned about structural balance and my weak links. So two of them actually was a 45-degree back extension and a seated good morning. They were not where they needed to be. So they were only at, 100 pounds for 6 reps, and the seated good morning was at 160 for 10 or so. And so that was what I focused to improve and get up. Now, what I mean by programming, by the way, when I went to Reach Personal Training in Toronto, the point of that is to make better progress with less effort. Not that the stuff that you're doing is hard, but the way that you structure exercises together is designed to make you either stronger faster, or muscular faster, or faster or quicker faster. Like, I know, oxymorons, but That is what programming is designed to do, and that will lead into something a little bit later. August of 2023, I got my back extension up to 150 pounds for 5 reps, my seated good morning up to 180 pounds for 10 reps, which got into November, December of 2023, where my seated good morning hit 200 pounds for 10 reps. Also during this time, my fastest lap hit 15 seconds for the first time in my life. My shot speed was always between 80 to 90 miles an hour for wrist shot, and also the 10 other shots that are in the shooting standards video. And also my cadence in terms of my rhythm and my stick handling and my deception in different drills. The cadence reached a high beats per minute for the first time also. And this was also the month that I created the Hockey Hack standards. So what happened during this time? I basically turned myself from being broken, injured, stuck on the fourth line, always healthy scratch, always a conflict for my team, to now being a coach, and also being of the ability of the best hockey players in the world. Some people have called me a freak athlete. I wasn't that way before. It's like, this isn't a genetics situation. This is something that I trained myself out of, that I fixed myself during training. What were the structures? What were the primary 2 structures? So it was mechanics matching and structural balance. Those are the 2 fundamentals that I use, like fundamental principles that I use to fix myself in both the hockey skill set and the general body ability and not being injured in balances and things like that. At first, here's another note. Before I learned programming, at first I just selected basics that I kind of knew that I wasn't good at with certain videos, and just aligned up my video next to another person's video and then just said, oh, well, I'll just see what happens with it, and then just keep knocking away at different ways to move my body and different ways to step my foot. And it's like, it's very repetitive. It's very boring. I will do the same thing over and over again. If you see me dig a hole for like 2 minutes, I'll just keep digging the hole. That's just my mindset with the way that I approached it. I did the boring stuff like over and over again. Do a drill, what that an NHL was doing. Check the iPad. Do the same thing. Check the iPad. Same thing. Check the iPad. Same thing. Check the iPad. So basically, if you boil it down, it's like 20, 30, maybe 50. Maybe I did 100 sets in a day of the same damn thing over and over again. It was just one thing. Now, obviously, I had some things mixed in here and there that was part of maybe a warm-up routine or not, but even if I was distracted like that, I was just doing the same thing over and over again. I know not many people can do that, which is why I have custom coaching that is designed to make a little bit of variety, but also to progress you to where you need to go. It's like, eventually you're going to hit those standards, and one way or another, whether you program it like a little bit different, but it's the same thing. And it's like, sometimes people need help with that. Clearly, I didn't know about programming, but I still got results. I think now that things are better structured, I will be able to make better progress, and any of you will be able to make better progress if you follow the programs, because there is actually something that you follow. You don't have to think about anything that you have to do or that you're missing, because it's all included in the system. In any of the programs that I offer, it's all included. You just follow it, that's it, and you get results. But even then, if you're identifying your weak links, like for me, it was hips, it was skating, it was stick handling, it was hamstrings, it was low back, it was readiness, it was upper body, and it was also deception. Puck control is a weak link for me too, but I can't work on it because it's all by myself. But there are some things that I could do that would prepare me for puck protection, like the mechanics of the 10 and 2 and just absorbing contact. It's like, that doesn't take very long to learn. Although if you do it like a Crosby, who's the best in the world at it, if you do it enough, you're gonna get even better, like what he does. So that's the case study with myself and the progress that I made over time. That's the exact transformation in detail. And the way that we can make that happen for you is, again, we go through a structural balance and a mechanics and skill set assessment. We do that every single workout. We're always assessing, because if you're not assessing, you don't know where you're at to where you're going to be going. So every training session that you have or that you do is an assessment of your abilities and where we can take you from there. Then we either customize a program for you, or if you want to do just a simple 6-week route, you just follow that. And then what might open up to you after doing the 6-week course is that you might have to do stuff that you have to work on specifically. Now, the reason that I say that is because everybody is different. Everyone has their own needs. Everyone has their own goals. Everyone wants to take things to different levels. Not everyone wants to skate like Connor McDavid, like exactly like him, even though the standards get you basically 90% there. Not everyone wants to stick handle like a Patrick Kane, even though the standards get you 90% there. Not everyone wants to be as strong on pull-ups as Connor Bedard, even though the standards get you there. You can easily get there. Not everyone wants to make NHL ability happen for their own body. But the point of this in the case study, and not only what we work on all the Hockey Hacks members and even what I worked on with myself, is that you now have a route to getting to not just the player that you've always dreamed of and that you watched as a kid, but going from being a fourth line grinder, scrub, maybe injured, maybe broken, maybe always healthy scratch, to being a dominant force, being a freak athlete, being someone who, doesn't suck. Go from sucking to not sucking. It's like, what's better than that? Go from you're actually good. Like, I can't imagine. I never would have imagined that I can now move the way that I do on the ice, literally from everything that I showcased here and that I talked about here. It's like even something like this, where it's like low maintenance, just walking, maintaining the legs. It's like at a low pace. That's still doing something for me, and it would also do something for you too. Anyway, that's the case study on myself and why what I did has worked and gotten results. And it's also how you can get it too. If you want more details on this, you can check out the Hockey Hacks programs on my website at hackvillehockeyhacks.com. You can go check out the Hockey Hacks 365 full year system. It's in the description as well, and you can go apply for that too. Now, that is a comprehensive plan that spans your entire year. It's designed as a 3 to 5 year development plan if you want to take it that far and really unlock the player of your dreams. There's so much that goes into it. We're including like nutrition, advising, different mechanical libraries, all different protocols that you can do at different times, flexible scheduling, accountability, body weight alternatives, different meal plans on the go. It's like all of it is there. So much so that, look, we guarantee in a 6-month time frame that you're going to unlock the player of your dreams. So it's like, you guarantee that, or you're going to get your money back. It's like, there's very little room for you to fail in the system. Even if you don't get the results, you get your money back. Like, it's a win-win for you. And then with my other programs, there's free trials on them. So it's like, you can try it out for a little bit. You're not satisfied, you don't have to join. I also have a free training if you just want to stick with that and not pay anything. Because the mission that we're doing with Hockey Hacks is we want to make the abilities of the best hockey players in the world accessible to everyone. And that is why case studies like myself have worked and exist. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.